I want to bring in our panel, David Susi and Richard Quest. Richard, let me start with you. So explain to us what this safety system, the NOTAM, is and how crucial is it for pilots?
NOTAM stands for Notice to Airmen. It's a system whereby all the air traffic control information, the airport information is put together by the FAA and then distributed in a variety of bulletins. So if you are flying to Los Angeles, from Newark, you may be told that runway X is having repairs between 2 and 4 in the morning. You'll be told that this air traffic control system is not working. The ILS at this airport isn't working. It is the raw information that is given to pilots who will check the NOTAMs before every flight. It is not as crucial in a sense as the en route stuff. Permission to take off, permission to land. It's not at that level, but the NOTAMs are the basics of what tells pilots what airports and what conditions there are in aviation.
So pilots aren't flying blindly.
Oh no,
it, right?
no, and you can fly without NOTAMs, but you might get a nasty surprise at the other end.
Yes.
It's not. It just tells you the information about the aviation system specific to your route. In a way, it's not the sexy bit, by the way, of air traffic control, which is takeoff and landing and manoeuvring the planes in the air.
Right.
This, to an extent, is the Cinderella aspect of it. It is the library of what's in aviation at the moment.
And still, David Susi, this is the Cinderella aspect of aviation. And thankfully, so far at least, what we've heard from Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is that there's no indication of foul play. Of course, it can't be ruled out at this point. But he did say that this is because of irregularities in the messages going out. We haven't seen this system go down before, bringing and raising the question of how did we get here and what are investigators going to be looking at as they piece all of this together?
Yeah, that's a good point. In 40 years of aviation, I've never seen the NOTAM system go down, ever. And so this is really unique, but it is a disturbing trend. We see a lot of these large, very complex systems. You have to think about the amount of information, all the interdependencies. We talk about the Flight Standards Division. We talk about having to have air traffic control in every airport, even 25 miles to each side of the route, report on this NOTAM system for any abnormalities. Anything that the pilot wouldn't have expected is on these NOTAMs. You don't know what you don't know until you have your NOTAM.
So what is the fear then, Richard, about what they could possibly find as they're investigating what led to this? I mean, that is sort of a big concern. Are there any other bugs in the system?
Number one, cyber. The secretary said on CNN there was no direct evidence, but they're going to want to look closely to make sure there wasn't any indirect evidence. Number two, things are always going to fail. But as the secretary said, why did the redundancy not kick in? Why did the thing fall over? And related to that, even though billions of dollars have been spent on next generation and all the FAA's CapEx requests, is it enough?
Yeah. And David, if I can get back to you, something I heard from John King in the last hour that I think is a poignant question to ask. Listen, Democrats and Republicans both fly. This is not a political issue. And yet we don't have a effective and a permanent director at the FAA at this point. One was nominated by the president in July, and apparently he has to be renominated with the new Congress. Does that worry you at all in terms of how Congress is prioritizing travel?
You know, while I was with the FAA for the 20 years that I was there, or 16 years, excuse me, that I was there, this was a big problem because the budgeting for these types of systems, it takes 5 to 6 years to develop a system, implement a system, and then sunset it at the end. So that's a long period of time. And if all you have is assistant or temporary administrators in there, like Administrator Nolan right now is temporary, they don't have the ownership. They don't have the way to see this all the way through. And that budget requires them to go in year after year after year to Congress and report on that budget and let us know how it's going and what they need and what they don't need. If that doesn't happen, these systems will continue to fail.
It seems like it should be a priority number one then to get a permanent director at the FAA in for this Congress, learning lessons from this today. Richard Quest and David Susi, thank you so much.
Thank you.